All right. Hello there. Okay, let's. This is going to be strictly about the benzo thing because I started tapering March 18th. It is now Halloween, October 31st. That is approximately 7.5 months that I've been trying this. In June, I took 14 pills, 14 half milligram pills for the whole of June. We're in October. October, 49 and a half pills. So I went from 14 pills in June to 49 and a half milligram pills in October. So that is a major backslide. And I feel sicker than hell and have for a while. Uh, yeah, just not sleeping, not shitting. I shouldn't say not shitting, but just like having weird bowels and stomach aches and just aches and pains. I even had a crick in my back. I never have back. Ironically enough, considering I had spinal reconstruction, never have back pain. I pain everywhere else, but don't have back pain. So, yeah, it's kind of sobering. So we're talking about 7 milligrams in the whole month of June to what is we'll call it 50, so I can make it easy on myself. So we'll call it 25 milligrams. So I went from 7 milligrams in June to now 25 milligrams in October. So that's 3.5 times more than what I was taking 4 months ago, or however many months ago that is. I'm not going to bother doing the math. So yeah, I don't know how to get a handle on this, and I was dredging up some hurtful feelings and whatnot, which I did not do on purpose. I just got an email from somebody and I just got into it somehow. And then like I think I'm okay now, but I had like shortness of breath and all those symptoms they ask you about when you have arrhythmia or you have a bad heart. So I was like, well, I'll open up the window and let some of this 45, I don't think it's that cold out, like 50-degree air in here. And it make me feel better, but I still feel like tightness in my chest and I'm still kind of short of breath. And yeah, so yeah, in June is when the meth trade opened up in here. And I knew there was something weird going on in June as far as the building, but I did not understand what it was. Then it just got progressively worse and worse. So in June, that was the best I was doing, as I took 14 half milligram pills over the space of 30 days. And so yeah, that was pretty good. Um, but then the meth trade opened up, and then I called the police when I saw a major drug buy on July 4th. They shut down the meth cookhouse on July 6th. I threatened the squatters with the machete on July 26th. Called the police on them again and had a cop threaten them 3 days later on July 29th, which I believe was a Sunday. And for the month of August, they were squatting for the entire month. And then August 31st is when they got tossed. September 15th is when my main support person in this city got deathly ill. And in between times is when Stampalicious up there moved in, and they're being especially loud today. I don't know if I still got them, but I broke out I was using the shooter's earplugs. The other one's stuck inside my shirt, but you get the picture. But I don't know. I figured if I was going to do a video, I shouldn't talk with earplugs in, or I'd be yelling at you like a deaf person. Uh, so yeah, there's been a lot of stuff, and you can put it off on that or whatever, man. It hasn't been, to say it hasn't been smooth sailing is a huge understatement. But yeah, I got to get a handle on this. I have to uh, try to secure some volume one way or another, so I can The best I do is taking very small doses of volume, like 2.5 and 5 milligram doses. I don't remember the equivalency in potency to Xanax or whatever. I think maybe a 5 milligrams is equal to a quarter of Xanax. Maybe, I don't know. I don't remember the equivalence. But anyway, those are the doses that I was taking. Still shorter breath, 2.5 milligrams and 5 milligrams. And I would take that and then, you know, instead of Xanax, and then it would help me stretch out the Xanax, and I felt better physically. But I go and I see somebody that on the 5th coming up of November, someone that said that they would prescribe me Valium to help me switch from Xanax to Valium, but I think he said that they don't do that for people that are currently taking Valium. They only switch you from one to the other. So I'm not sure how to play that or how to work that, but when I go in there on the 5th, I'm definitely going to talk to him about it and sound him out about it because it's too hard to find and too expensive otherwise. But at the same time, I'm kind of leery about just switching from one to the other because, you know, just having it around and, you know, I would say just experimenting with using it to help me get to wean. It's like it doesn't, you know, I can't substitute it for Xanax. I understand that some people can do that, but I can't. It's like at some point I start getting the depersonalization. I start getting fucking weird in the head and start feeling sick. You know, I did 58 hours where I didn't take any uh, Xanax at all. And I just took like I think 2.5 and then 5 milligrams over that span of time, and then I started to feel sick, and I was like, I don't see switching unless they put me on a higher dose of it. I don't know, you know, I don't know. I'm definitely flustered right now about the whole thing, and like I said, I'm short of breath and highly agitated. Uh, like I said, I've been feeling terrible, and there's three basic things you have to do in life, and that's uh, eat and drink, shit, and sleep. Those are the very basic things for your foundation of living. And I've been struggling with all three. Like my sleep has been all over the place. I've been getting up at like 3 in the morning for a 2:30 appointment in the afternoon, and yeah. So I didn't backslide completely, but I backslid a lot. Doing pretty good sticking to just taking quarters and not taking halves. You know, I had one day where I was very sick where I took a half, but for like 3 weeks I was like, no more halves. You know, that's where I screwed up. Is I had a stretch where I was taking halves and then taking even more than that to get me through appointments and stuff like that, and I can't afford to do that. The last time I went to the dentist, I did pretty good about that as far as like just keeping to quarters, and I think I took like 1 milligram to get me through the day in quarters over a 24-hour period, like every 6 hours, because I got a real problem with going to the dentist and, you know, the anxiety and stress of the whole thing. So, compared to the last time when I took 2 and a quarter um, milligrams over a 24 hour period, that was pretty good. You know, it was like, well, I did better this time. I only took 1 milligram over a 20 hour period, 24-hour period. But yeah, um, yeah, it's, you know, I added up like the totals in the months, and I was like, June I only took 14 pills. I took 7 milligrams to get me through 30 days, and then the world interfered, like it does, and then this place, this little, somehow I got so lucky that this little 4 unit building that I live in became the meth capital of the city I was living in, which I did not know about this until later, where I talked to some other people and they were like, yeah, man, you know, somebody that's like street level person. They were like, yeah, man, everybody knew about, I almost said my address. Everybody knew about the place you were living in being a place to score in this whole city. And I'm like, oh, this is even worse than I thought. Like I told you that one day I saw somebody come in here with a book bag, like like a car pulled up. This slouchy looking, looked like he was from Central Casting, under junkie, came in carrying a book bag, went upstairs, immediately came back down, clutching a big roll of bills like this in his hand, and put it inside the car, and the car drove up, and then the junkie went back upstairs, and not a sound was heard up there for like almost the rest of the day. That's when I was still thinking it was heroin, because I had it in my head that meth is like, people bounce off the walls, and but I guess you can do that shit quietly, but I don't have no experience with that. That's the funny thing about me, ha ha ha, is that, I spent my whole life avoiding addictive substances. I never wanted to be addicted to anything. It's like I drank a little bit. I'm like, well, thank goodness this isn't my thing. By drinking a little bit, I mean like I got drunk a couple of times. I'm like, well, I don't really like being drunk. And then occasionally I would get downs, or just run across them here and there. Uh, Never really got a lot of prescriptions for them, but I would just run across them here and there. I'd be like, oh, I like downs. I don't like the stuff that hypes you up. I like downs though. They make you feel relaxed. And opiates included. Never had any problem with that. Never had. Scared to death of cocaine, meth, heroin. Would never stick a needle in my arm. Avoided all that stuff. And turn around and accidentally, literally accidentally, uh, get physically dependent on like the strongest benzo, which I think it's either the strongest benzo or maybe Klonopin is equal to it in strength. I don't know, but I know it's definitely a hell of a lot more powerful than Valium, because I could take 5 milligrams of Valium and I could still be talking to you, but if I took 5 milligrams of Xanax, I'm out. But yeah, highly agitated because I was dredging up a bunch of emotional crap, which I didn't need to be doing, and got short of breath and stuff. So I'm just gonna try to chill. And yeah, I made a couple of videos that I just didn't put on here because I just got too dark in them. It's like it's okay to talk about bad stuff, but there's sometimes that stuff's not going to do anybody any good. I mean, I don't know if anything I can say could be helpful to anybody anyway. I visited this other guy's video, and it was a 22-minute video. Can't remember the guy's name, but he made a good video. Only made one, but he ran out of pills at the time, and he was just going back through his old pills, he said, and uh, like licking the batter. He was like sticking his finger in the pills and eating the dust. And he said it took the edge off of it enough for him to make this video, but then he was going to have to visit his doctor and see what's what. And he said he was like peaked at 3.5 milligrams of Xanax a day. And he didn't make no other videos besides that one. But anyways, there was somebody wrote a comment underneath his video that was saying that he appreciated the guy making the video because he was too messed up to do one for himself. So maybe it's helpful for people that I can. I don't got a lot of shame, so I can be on here and tell you and talk. Just like come across inarticulate, foolish, or whatever. Whatever. I don't care. The only thing I do care about is like getting too oversharing, to TMI. Like I made that last video, like where I like was a teenager, and the cheerleader skirt was stuck up for like 15, 20 minutes in a class, and I was the only one that could see it, and I blew a load over it in my pants in the first class of the day. That might have been oversharing, but to me that's just a funny story. It's just like that happened to somebody else way back in the day. Yeah. Um, Anyways, yeah. So I don't have a whole lot of shame, or I don't mind showing myself on here when I am like way far from my best. And then I watch it and I'm like, dude, you have so many double negatives in your sentences that you're not making any sense at all. And like, um, but I don't like when I get dark like that. Like I got really dark and started talking about exit strategies and stuff. And it's like, that can't be helpful to me or anybody else. I mean, it's honest, you know, my situation's pretty horrible, but it's just not going to do anybody any good to watch something like that. I had it in my silly little mind, you see, when I started this, that life would cooperate because I'm like a natural cockeyed optimist. Like, it's like I have no reason to be optimistic, but I tend to be a very optimistic, rose-colored glass half full type of person. So, like, when I had the 50% reduction in dose imposed upon me, and then I survived the first 2 hellish weeks, and then was able to drop it another quarter to where I had a 75% reduction um, in 3.5 weeks. I was like, well, I'm going to be off of this stuff. Like, it shouldn't take me no more than a month and a half to 2 months. I should be off of this. So that I got the idea in my head that like I would make a series of videos of it, and then I like talking anyway, and then that would be encouraging the people that were trying to get off of benzos and going through their withdrawal process. That's like, oh, I was so confident of my success, and then I found out that about kindling, and I got kindled because I didn't have any choice in the matter because I wasn't allowed to take it slow. So I had an oral surgery, and I updosed for that. Then I updosed for the pain outfit because the pain pills they didn't work for shit. They just gave me like a Motrin or something stupid like that. I was in a lot of pain, and it's like I updosed for 3 days, something like that. And then it was really hard to go back to taking a quarter milligram a day, and I couldn't do it. And then I had a lot of miserable days in May. So I started in March 18th, and then the rest of March was a living hell. And then my appointment was like, I don't know, April 16th or something like that. And it was like right before I had to I needed a refill. It was like right before then. And then I managed to taper even further and stockpile a few extra pills. And then I took them, not all at once, but I more or less took them all at once over a 2 to 3 day period when I had the surgery, and which kindled me and made me miserable. And then May was pretty bad. I had some very bad moments in May, and then I really got a hold of things in June and only took 7 milligrams worth of Xanax for the entire month of June. And then, I had like crazy freaking drama. And yeah, and then here I am, almost back to where I was in February. So, not perhaps an encouraging thing, but I'm not done. I'm not done. I'll figure it out. Because I was able to get close before. I'll figure it out. But I just wanted to kind of like leave a document. I didn't expect, I expected that one video that I put on that was like, it said Benzo Addiction Despair or something. It was titled just to be like, that was going to be my nadir. That was going to be my bottom of the barrel. Like, this is my bad stuff. I didn't realize that I would have nadir. Nadir, I'd have a whole bunch of like bottom of the well uh, miserable videos where I'm just completely miserable on it. Like, it had ones where I wake up in the morning and it's like, this is why I don't have a gun in the house. I had a couple like that where I woke up and I'm just like completely miserable. But that's what happens when you don't get to control the pace of your own taper. And I didn't get to control the pace of it. It was like 50%, and then I didn't have no choice but to drop it 70%, 75%, because I needed to stockpile enough to get me through an oral surgery that was at the end of my refill cycle, if you can follow that. So, why the hell does it take me so long to say anything? That's freaking 20 minutes. maybe it's a genetic thing wrong with me. Um, so yeah, uh, I had some other things. I always have things I want to say. That's the thing. I guess it's because my body is wrecked. I got a very active uh, mind, and I do enjoy talking. So, um, but yeah, that was my plan. Is like I was gonna have a nice little triumphant uh, 2 months uh, series of videos where it was like, yeah, I'm off of benzos. I think it would have actually went that way if I was allowed to control it. But this time, I'm still ahead. I'm still going to be ahead like 50 or 45 pills. I don't know if he's going to give me a refill for 60 pills again or drop me back down to 30. You know, the last time he stuck me at 60 pills for like 3 or 4 months to where I built up that big tolerance, you know. But now I know better. Now I know like what's up. I mean, I know that I've been fucking up real bad here in October, and that like I'm kindled pretty severely, and I'm also realizing that there might be something to that idea that each time you kindle an updose, the withdrawal symptoms are worse when you're going back down. So you know, um, yeah. So yeah, you don't want to do that. You know, you want to. That was up to the doctor though. That wasn't up to me. But you want to like, there's some fella on here was telling me no more than 10% a month, and I'm like, well, I didn't really have that choice in the matter. I had a 50% reduction like right off the bat. But since I have a decent stockpile, not a huge stockpile, but a decent stockpile build up, I can control my own pace. I don't have to, you know. I think that's what I should do is like make it a slower decrease, and that way, like when I hit those road bumps and life dumps obstacles upon me, you know, there won't be that spiking up and then going down. It's like I'm doing a gradual thing. Then I up dose a little bit as needed, and then go back to a gradual thing instead of like drastic reduction and then big up dose to get through something, and you know make the hills and valleys uh, more like a plane, more closer to a plane and not so severe. I don't know. Like I said, I'm gonna talk to my psych guy and see what he says about. He says he uses the Ashton manual. In the Ashton manual, it says that they do mix doses of Xanax and Valium. They just like lower the amount of Xanax you're taking and raise the Valium until you're not taking Xanax anymore. That's my understanding of it anyway. Maybe I'll reread the thing before I go in and talk to him next week. But yeah, um, it's kind of funny or strange if you prefer. When you think about it, it's like you need guidance. This is a very serious thing to go through, and you need guidance. And the people that are supposed to like help you through it, your doctors, they don't seem to understand it. It's like, why don't you understand it? Why don't you understand that you can do a lot of damage by dropping people off so severely and putting them through those symptoms? And that's what I needed. Is like I needed somebody to say, look, this is how you do it. I needed to have the option, but see, I had people on YouTube that were advising me on how to properly taper, but I didn't get that option because I didn't have the pills. I mean, I got plunged into immediate with immediate 50% tolerance withdrawal. And I didn't have the pills to work it out. So you know they're like, oh, you only should taper so much. And I was like, well, dude, I got like 17 pills left in this bottle, and I don't know if I'm going to get any more like ever. So I have to, you know, I have to drop it another 25% and try to stretch these things as far as possible. You know, and then when you get like dumped into that withdrawal, and if you have connections and can try to like control your own taper through illegal means, you're too sick to pursue those leads. You're you're just, you know, I was like bedridden. I mean, you see me in bed a lot, but that's just the way I like to talk. I like to get comfortable and I like to get relaxed. But I mean, I was like bedridden, not eating, not even able to watch TV, just staring at a fucking plant. Uh, and maybe watching an old basketball game or two quietly on YouTube. I couldn't follow TV shows or stuff like that. My brain was just a foggy mess. So, yeah, I didn't really have a choice in the matter, and I didn't have, it was just dropped upon me, and I didn't even understand, what was facing me. So I didn't. I mean, if you can't walk across the room, you can't go out and try to score, so you can make your, so you can lessen your taper from 50% to something a little bit more practical. And I don't know, I don't know why doctors don't know about this stuff. I mean, or know how to taper people properly. It's been around for 40 years. I think Xanax has been around. The Dr. Ashton person herself, she started her work like in the early 80s. That's it's almost 40 years right there ago. I don't know when they come out with it. Maybe in the 70s. I don't know. But yeah, yeah. Usually when I do a video or talk about this stuff, I just leave it. I want people to see what this is really like. So I don't want to like dress up and put on a little tie and shit like that, and or dress up my language or like let's do a couple of takes on this. But that's one of the times I do like start over and be like, no, 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 no. It's like if I make something where I start talking about exit strategies and um, really bad stuff. Besides that, um, I said in one video that I use indelible ink when I do this. Like if I write something wrong, say something wrong, it's too bad. There's no eraser for it. But yeah, that's the one time I allow myself to do that. Um, yeah. Another thing is like I had this dude pop up and say some things about me, like that I don't care about people, which I actually do care about people. I mean, I wouldn't be able to be hurt emotionally by people if I didn't care about them. You know, if I don't care about you, what the hell? Why do I care what you have to say? Of course, I care about people. But he said some other things, and the other things I'll be open to, like narcissism, uh, ego problem, asshole. All those other things. It's like, hey, that's possible. And as far as the addiction versus physical dependence thing, a lot of people that have a lot of experience with drugs don't understand the difference. I've read about the difference from the so-called experts on it, and yeah, um, I thought about when I had a better clarity of mind, like breaking that down for people so that they could understand that there is a difference between physical dependence and addiction. The only addiction symptoms that I have really is like using it, using more of the substance I'm dependent on to cope through the meth trade in here and the squatter situation and people threatening to kill me and all that. You know, that's really I don't like. It's not like when people that drink, and I've known quite a few people that drink. They can't stop. That's like this is a famous there's a famous book called on Writing by the most famous author, Stephen King. And in the book, he's like he went to a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist asked him, how much do you drink? And he looked at him like he was crazy and said, all of it. In other words, he couldn't stop. He would get to the point where he would be pouring a beer down the sink because he couldn't trust himself not to just drink everything in the house. Like it's not like I can't sit on pills and I can't have it around or I can't be around it. Like if I my thing with cigarettes is like if I'm around cigarettes, I'm gonna smoke cigarettes. As a matter of fact, I picked the butt out of an ashtray today while I was cleaning up a little bit and took a few hits off of it. So yeah, I definitely have like a smoking addiction. Even though I do pretty good with that as far as I don't buy and I don't smoke when I'm alone, but I still have the cravings, and it's still like associated with good times for me. And I still want to do it, even though it tastes terrible to me. It smells terrible to me. It doesn't give me much of a buzz, if any, and it usually makes me sick. So it's just really no reason for me to do it at all. But yeah, I don't have none of that with Xanax. Xanax, I like sometimes I'm forcing myself. I'm like, take the pill. You're gonna feel sick. You know, you reached your limit. Take your pill. So I feel like there is a difference. And this dude was like, I won't admit to being an addict. You know that it's just a semantics thing because people use the terms interchangeably. They like to say you're physically addicted to something, and then they say you're physically dependent on something. It's like they interpose or mix up those words of addiction and dependence. Now, somebody can be insulin dependent. You wouldn't say they were. Uh, no one would say they're insulin addicted to get their body to function right. So if somebody's physically dependent because they have a GABA receptor damage, you wouldn't say you know that they're addicted to it because they need it to make their body function right. You know. Um, so me to break it down really simply, and I won't like explore this extensively, but addiction is a head thing, and dependence is a body thing. So it, uh, that would be like the basic way to break it down. And the reason why they're easy bedfellows is the reason why they get mixed up. Why people mix up the words and confuse one for the other and have trouble distinguishing between a physical dependence and a real addiction. The addiction is the real monster, like physical dependence. A lot easier to deal with than the addiction thing because the addiction thing gets up here. Um, yeah, I don't know if I've progressed to that point. I mean, I've been taking benzos for um, probably almost 3 years now. So I don't know if I've progressed to the point where it's an addiction with me or not. I don't think it is. People are welcome to their opinion and they can call it whatever they want to call it. And if it makes anybody feel better, you know, to say nasty things to me, I've decided that's also fine. You know, I just won't. I'm not going to talk to anybody that is saying nasty things to me. It just doesn't make any sense. Ooh, this radiator heater I got next to my bed, it's nice and hot, man. Let me hold my hand on there. Ooh, that burned me. Let me do it again. Yeah, that burned me. You know, it's just dumb. And talk to somebody that's going to be abusive to you. You know, it doesn't matter if they think they're doing it for your own good. Abuse is abuse. Somebody's calling you names and stuff. Like why do I want to talk to you? But yeah, that's pretty much, you know, that's just, I can't say hello without it taking a half an hour. So that's my hello to you. Um, I did kind of stay on point about it being just a benzo thing, and uh, I did digress a bit into the difference between addiction and dependence. And according to the experts, there is a difference. So you know, and I believe there's a difference because I am definitely not physically dependent on cigarettes at all. As a matter of fact, they make me sick most of the time. But boy, do I want to smoke them sons of bitches. I didn't even know who smoked that bud I picked out of the ashtray. I don't know who it was. Uh, but yeah, I smoked it. But yeah, I don't have any withdrawal symptoms. I don't get depersonalization because I haven't smoked a cigarette in a week or two. Um, you know, I was feeling pretty weird today, like pretty out there, starting to feel a little bit of a depersonalization. And it just doesn't make any sense because I'm taking quarters between 15 and as little as 3 hours between doses. I'm just trying to survive this month. I'm trying to get my bearings. I took the advice of somebody on here, and it was like, you need to find a stable pattern. You get in a stable pattern, and then like slowly decrease your dose. So that's the way I'm going to try it this time because I have the pills to do it. Last time I had a doctor that was threatening to drop me off of it like pronto, and I had 17 pills left. This time I have like right now I have uh, exactly 50 and a half pills, and I got a week until I can get another prescription. So that's a big difference as far as if he prescribes me 60 pills again, that'll be an even bigger difference. As far as you got the pills, you have a control. You have the control over how much you can take and how slow of a taper you can take. But if you got 17 pills left and you got a doctor that says we usually drop people off faster than what we're dropping you off at, yeah, you can't taper gradually. You have to taper according to your supply. And yeah, if I had it to do over again, I would have I had some money, and I would have threw some money around and secured. I guess that's a truck going by. I would have threw some money around and I would have secured an illegal supply. If I had it to do over, that would have been the way to do it. But when you get in that, when you're already getting withdrawal, where you're not thinking straight, you got the brain fog and the depersonalization and the seasickness and all the damn symptoms that go with it. You're not exactly in the best frame of mind for making decisions. So I can't be too hard on myself. And I can't be too hard on myself about like having all that stuff piled on top of me and backsliding to where I'm taking 3.5 times as much as I was in June, because even in June I was dealing with a bad leg and getting cortisone injections in my leg and taking courses of steroids and uh, dealing with I had let's just say I had stuff to deal with, and I only took seven milligrams in the entire month of June. So yeah, I'm going to try that again. As far as yeah, all you can do is when you fall down, is all you can do is get back up again. So that's what I'm going to try to do. Is what does a song go? Something like pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and start all over again. That's pretty much what I'm doing. It just didn't work out for me, and life didn't cooperate this time. And I have a little bit more experience, unfortunately, with the whole thing. So I'll have a better idea of how to approach it this time. And yeah, so yeah, I definitely feel sick, and I'm definitely not happy with the way things are right now. And taking that much, I mean, it's just taking 3.5 times more than I was in June, but it'll be all right. I'll figure it out. I think, anyways. So yeah, I'll put this one up because this was like on point about my situation with the benzos and how things went for me. Even though it is, of course, much longer than it has to be. And I feel bad being like this. This is just the way I am. I feel bad being like this because I was watching the guy's video that was 22 minutes, and he was a pretty good public speaker, but there was a part in there where he was talking about leaving Las Vegas, and he was, for the benefit of younger people or whatever, he was talking about the plot to it. And I'm like, I don't want to listen to this. I cut like 5 minutes of it. Like, and I'm thinking like, dude, your videos are like freaking 2 and 3, 4 times longer than his video, man. Go back and watch that. So, uh, yeah, I went back and watched that in case he said something besides the plot to the Nicolas Cage movie. And but yeah, I guess you shouldn't apologize for who you are, and who I am is one long-winded son of a bitch. And yeah, that's just how I roll, partner. But anyways, I will update you after I talk to my site guy and see if I can get something worked out as far as that. And I might stay off of here for a while until I have some real news instead of just getting on here and telling stories about cheerleaders with unfortunate wardrobe malfunctions in high school just to kill time. Though that is amusing to me, but I don't know how well received that is by the YouTube general populace. I don't really keep track on current events and stuff, but that Alex Jones guy that's famous for being a so-called conspiracy theorist, I guess he got kicked off of YouTube altogether. They just like banned him. I was like, I think they banned him from other social platforms too, and it's like that seems wrong to me somehow. It's like, you don't like what the guy's saying, let the people decide. I know that I will never have any kind of a following where anybody would consider banning me and not let me say what I want to say. But it just seemed very wrong to me. But I don't. That's just another thing for me to delay getting off of here and talk about. But I didn't know about that they could do that. Like if I guess I know there was like a content three strike policy or something on YouTube. Like if I did something stupid on here that was against their policy and violated it over and over again, that I could get kicked off of here. I had known that, but I didn't know you could get kicked off of there for just saying controversial things and offering different opinions. I think that whole freedom of expression thing has to be guarded, and shit like that shouldn't happen. So I don't. I'm vaguely familiar with Alex Jones and his lizard people theories and all that stuff like that. And I think he should be able to talk about lizard people all he wants to talk about. That's my opinion on that. But anyways, again, dust myself off, pick myself up, and start all over again. Sounds like some kind of Broadway show tune, maybe a Cohen or something like that. Anyways, goodbye, and I'll let you know how things go after I talk to the site guy. Adios.